Hi, I'm Judy from JudiKins, and today I mailed myself here. But boy, was that a bumpy ride. If you're like me, you love getting fun things in the mail. Now I bet you have a lot of paper too. Today we're going to be using that paper and some templates to make some fun envelope projects. Now give me a chance to get out of here and we'll get started. First, I'm going to start with a standard envelope template. I have this template from JudiKins, and it's made out of a nice sturdy plastic. The great thing about it is it has the directions printed right on the template, so you don't have to worry about losing your directions. It's transparent, which allows you to work on pattern paper, and if I put the template in the center of the paper, you see I have this flower, but that's right where the address is going to go. If you slide the template over, I can center the address around this border of flowers here, and that allows me to write the address in the center. Now let's start making an envelope. I'm going to start out with this piece of paper, but I have a little trick. I'm going to treat the paper with this new spray that I found called Paper Glide from Inspired Crafts. It's wonderful because you can put it on any type of paper and it doesn't harm your paper. You just spray a little bit of the spray on the paper and just let that dry. And it dries almost immediately. And what it does is when you're scoring any of the paper or if you're doing any paper embossing, it makes your folders glide right over the paper. So let's trace around our template here. Now when you're at home, you're going to use a pencil so you can erase the pencil lines. But today I'm going to draw this in black ink so you can see how I'm drawing along the template. Now I've put the template at the bottom of the page and on one side because that saves me two edges that I don't have to trim. Now with my bone folder, I'm going to score right along these score lines. Now I know you can't see this, but my folder just glides along the paper. Now here, I have an envelope that I've cut out. Now I want to show you how I folded it along the scored lines, and I'm going to glue it on the left and the right flap. But a little trick that I have is if I just trace with my folder very lightly, I can see a little bit of a line here, so that's a guideline for me to place the glue. My other little trick is to slide a piece of scratch paper into my envelope so that I don't get any glue on the inside when I'm applying it. Just put a little glue on one side and then the other and fold my envelope closed. Now that is going to be my finished envelope. But if I want to decorate it just a little bit more, I have one other fun tip. I have a little piece of decorated paper. This is hand marbled paper. I'm going to put a little bit of glue just along the top edge. I don't glue the whole piece of paper. I slide this into my envelope flap just until the point meets the edges, like so. The bottom section is loose so that when you fold the envelope, it doesn't bind up on the front side of it. And that is my lined envelope. Now the next thing I'd like to do is seal the envelope. I'm going to use a little bit of my trio tape, and one thing that's kind of fun is when you apply the tape, if you just cut it very carefully with a penknife and you leave the liner on the tape, you can save that to mail at a later date, or if you want to be really creative, you can make a set of envelopes as a stationery set and send it to your friends. The next template I'm going to use is the Diagolope from JudiKins. This template is a little bit different because it's designed for the European size standard letter paper, which is an A4 paper. It's a little bit narrower than the standard letter size paper and a little bit longer. But what's great about it is it fits perfectly on a 12 by 12 scrapbook page. I just line it up in the corner here and trace around the edges, and then I'll score in the center. The fun thing about this template is you can assemble your envelope two different ways. If you have your envelope horizontal and glue the two flaps this way, you can create a horizontal shaped envelope. If you fold your flaps vertically and glue the bottom, you can create a vertical envelope. For my next project, I'm going to create a cascading envelope booklet. As you can see, it has these wonderful envelopes, and it was inspired by my friend Michael Jacobs. And let me show you how I made this. We start out with the mini envelope template set here. I have a little gift enclosure, and there's a coin envelope, but the template we're going to be using is the square envelope. I have my little envelopes here, and I'm going to apply glue to the flap and then attach it to the bottom of the next envelope, just like so. Next, I'd like to make the cover. I've cut this a little larger than the envelopes, and I've scored it, but you don't have to worry about the measurements because you can download the design guide. The next thing I did was I stamped the image for the front, and I just took my stamp and stamped it in the center of that panel. Finally, I'm going to add the ribbon closure. I used a little bit of trio tape, and I'm going to use the medium-sized tape on the center panel. Just lift up, take my ribbon, and apply it right there in the center. But I want to make sure that the buckle lines up in the center of the front panel. Now to attach the pages, again, I'm going to use my scratch paper so that I could put glue on the top flap here and then insert that into the booklet. You're going to line this up in the center section and just fold this all up and close that. Just pull the ribbon through this little ribbon buckle to hold everything together. Now, doesn't this look wonderful? I have some other projects that I want to show you. Remember the first envelope we started with? I also have a decorated stamped envelope, and it was sealed with a kiss. I cut this envelope a little bit differently. It has this fun flap on the envelope. You can download the template off the website. With the Diagolope, I used an old map to create the envelope, but the cover is a little bit busy, so I just used a regular mailing label to put the address on there. This next envelope has a scalloped edge for the flap. You can stamp a design on the flap, and you can use this on a scrapbook layout to create a little pocket. This is a photo of my grandmother with her girlfriends before she was married. It was taken about 90 years ago. She's over 102 right now. And finally, on this layout, my nephew and I went to the zoo, and he fell in love with the African animals. He decided that he wanted to go on an African safari one day. So I created a money enclosure envelope to start his African safari fun. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I had a lot of fun making envelopes, and I hope you do too. Oh, I really don't want to get back in that envelope. Can anybody give me a ride home?
For step-by-step instructions on how to create this week's project, download the design guide featuring special make-it-your-own bonus tips.